Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at, listening to, and installing the Borla Stinger S-Type dual exhaust system with chrome tips, available for the 2019 and newer 5.7 liter Ram 1500 with the factory dual exhaust. Now, if your truck came with a factory dual exhaust, you might want to check this one out if you're looking for a beautiful daily driver, very aggressive exhaust sound that won't blow your ears out at highway speeds. As you just heard from our sound clips, I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter just because it is the best of both worlds. At wide open throttle, you get something with a really mean, really aggressive and loud bark. But from light to light on your daily commute every single day, you get something that's really tamed but has a really crisp, throaty sound. Now again, when you get on it, it's got a loud bark. It lets everybody around you know that it's an aftermarket exhaust. It's a lot deeper than the factory one, and it's a bit louder than the Borla Touring, which is more on the mellow side of things. But it's not as loud as the Borla Attack, which gets 5 out of 5. Right there in the middle, this one's gonna fall. Now the nice thing about the Borla system, and all Borla systems really, is that they come with 304 mandrel bent 3-inch tubing for the inlet and 304 stainless steel for the 2.5-inch outlet pipes coming out both sides here. So it's the highest quality materials in the category, so you really get what you pay for here. It's got a higher price tag in the category, but it's carrying the Borla name, which comes with a ton of quality, really great manufacturing, and a beautiful exit. Now this exit here uses 2 dual 4.5-inch slash cut polished stainless steel tips. This chrome tip here is keeping that more traditional chrome styling. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more aftermarket or different or unique or stealthy, there's a black chrome option of the same exhaust from Borla to get things a little bit darker. Those tips are coming out, of course, that rear exit, just like your factory exhaust. There are some other exit styles, but personally, when it comes to the Ram, I like using the rear exit because your factory bumper already has those tip cutouts. So using the rear exit utilizes that factory exit styling. Now the price tag for this one's gonna come in right around $1,250. The install, I'm giving 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. It doesn't require any cutting, drilling, or modification. It is a direct bolt-on. However, getting your factory exhaust off can be a little bit difficult, especially if you're working on the ground at home in the driveway. If you're working on the ground, there's not a ton of clearance to get it off all in one piece, in which case it may be easier to cut your factory exhaust off. If you have a lift like we do, or a way to get your vehicle up in the air in the driveway, maybe on some ramps, you might be able to have a little bit easier time getting the factory exhaust off, but cutting it will make it easier. I'm gonna pull it off in one piece, however, but of course, it's all personal preference and what you have available to you. With that said, it'll take you about 2, maybe 3 hours from start to finish, so I'm gonna show you what it's like. Let's get to it. Tools used in the install include an impact gun, a ratchet, 13, 14, 15, and 16 millimeter deep sockets, 14 millimeter wrench, hanger removal tool is recommended, WD-40 or something similar. A pry bar comes in handy, as well as some safety glasses. First step here, we're gonna grab our hanger removal tool and pop the hanger off right above our resonator on our passenger side tailpipe. The driver's side tailpipe is one piece all the way back to the muffler inlet, so we're gonna attack that later. So for right now, we're gonna do this, and I've lubricated it with WD-40. That makes life a little bit easier. All right, next step, grab your ratchet and your 15 millimeter deep socket, and we're gonna loosen up the clamp holding the tailpipe to the rest of the exhaust assembly. All right, hanger's out of position, clamp is loosened up. Let's get this exhaust pipe off. All right, so at this point, we're gonna focus on our driver's side tailpipe. Now, like I said, it's all one piece. I have a pole jack here right behind the resonator just to give it some support once we start disconnecting things. I am gonna remove this tip, however. Removing this tip gives you another foot, maybe foot and a few inches of extra space that you don't have to worry about feeding out of the frame. So we're gonna take this guy off with a 13mm socket. Next, we can pop the hanger out of the isolator using our hanger removal tool right above that resonator. All right, so now we can disconnect the hangers right above the muffler outlet. There's one on each side. Grab your hanger removal tool and get these guys off. Now, as you can see, I have a pole jack here supporting this as well. So we have two different points of support for this exhaust. Now for this one, it's tough to get the hanger removal tool in here, so I'm gonna use my pry bar to get this guy off. All right, so next up, we're gonna focus on this flange here. Now you could bypass this and go straight back to the cat, but that's a lot of exhaust to take off in one piece, so I'm gonna separate it here. Now, once we have this taken care of, there is one more hanger to remove, but for now, grab your 16mm socket and disconnect these two bolts. All right, now when you pop this guy out of the hanger isolator, this is all gonna come loose, so you wanna be prepared for that. Before we do so, there's a ground strap here. I'm just gonna disconnect that from the factory tubing. All right, so that way it dangles here and we can reconnect it to our new exhaust later. So now we can grab our hanger removal tool and pop that guy off. All right, now you can take this exhaust off. So we got our factory exhaust off of our 19.57 Ram, and it's on the ground here next to our Borla Stinger S-Type. I want to take you through some similarities and differences between these two here. And the first thing you might notice is the fact that it still uses the factory inlet pipe that comes off of the catalytic converter pipes. So while this is a catback, it really starts at the muffler and goes back to the tips. So you're retaining that inlet pipe. There are some other aftermarket options in the category that do not retain the factory inlet pipe, but instead give you an aftermarket one to make it a more complete system. But this one here is just gonna reuse that factory one. It's less things for you to take off, so it makes it a little easier. At that point on, you can see that it's a 3-inch mandrel bent tubing. From there to the muffler. Coming off of that are two dual 2.5-inch mandrel bent pipes compared to some of the other 3 inches in the category. This one's a little bit smaller in diameter, splitting off into the two duals. The muffler itself, you'll see, is pretty significantly smaller than the factory muffler, which is a huge cylindrical shape. This guy here is more of that traditional aftermarket muffler shape. That Borla Stinger S-Type is their sport muffler. It's the middle of the road option in terms of volume from the Borla series. That's typically the Touring, Stinger, and then their Attack. Now that's gonna produce that sound you heard from our sound clips earlier on. It's got a little bit of baffling on the inside to help keep the drone down. Borla uses a technology that helps keep some of those higher frequencies muted, so your drone, especially at highway speeds, is tolerable and almost non-existent at all, but it still gives you a loud bark. The outlet there looks a lot different than the factory one. The factory outlet is a single pipe that splits into a Y, so it goes into the two duals. This guy here is actually a true dual coming out of the muffler. There are two outlets. Those outlets, again, go to the 2.5-inch mandrel bent back to the tips. Now the tips, in terms of finish, are similar to the factory tips. The dual exhaust from the factory uses a polished chrome. Now, polished is a pretty generous word for the factory tips. They're pretty dull, honestly. While they look good compared to some of the other trucks coming off the factory line, some other trucks have no tips at all, so this is a pretty good upgrade over that. But they're not that big, they're not that attractive in terms of its polish. They could do better. The aftermarket tips here from Borla are 4.5-inch, which is huge compared to some of the other ones out there. Slash cut double walled tips, and they're a mirror-like chrome finish. That polish is a 304 stainless steel, so it's highest quality materials in the market, and the same thing goes for the rest of the system here, all 304 stainless. So you're paying for boreless quality, which shows through in the materials. With that said, let's start on the install. We're gonna start back here with our muffler pipe. First step for the install, grab your muffler assembly. We're gonna lift that up into place, hang up the hanger closest to the front of the vehicle first, and then we'll do the hangers above the muffler. Now you can lift your muffler assembly up toward the rear, right above the muffler, and slide them into the red hangers here. Next, connect the flange to the factory inlet pipe that we left on. Make sure your gasket's in place. If the gasket came off with the rest of the factory exhaust, just swap it back over. Take the factory 16mm bolts and put them back through the front toward the rear, just like this, through the threaded holes. All right, so we're gonna go up at the top and do the same thing. Grab your 16 socket and tighten those down. I'm gonna use a 16 swivel socket just because it can be a little bit tough to get the top angle. All right, next step, we're gonna insert our tailpipe on our passenger side. Make sure you have a clamp over the end. I'm gonna let that slide down, swing it over the rear, connect it to the pipe, and then we're gonna hang it up. Again, that really helps if it's lubricated. All right, so now we can just pull that clamp around, grab your 15 deep socket and tighten it down. All right, next we can put our driver's side pipe that swivels around the spare tire. Make sure you have a clamp there. This is a tight squeeze, but you're gonna drop it right onto that pipe. Make sure it slides on all the way, and we're not gonna tighten down this just yet because we want that adjustment in order to make sure our driver's side pipe is aligned properly. Next up here, we're gonna finish off with our driver's side tailpipe. Make sure you have a clamp on there. Connect the pipe to the one we just installed, but remember, that one isn't tightened down yet, so it may move on you. So you wanna have a hand up here to help connect them. Seat that all the way, bring it up and connect it to the isolator. All right, now we're gonna come back here and tighten down this clamp. All right, last step, let's tighten down this final clamp on our driver's side. Make sure everything is aligned properly by the tips and you're good to go. That's gonna wrap up my review and install for the boreless Stinger S-Type dual exhaust system with chrome tips, available for the 19 and newer 5.7 Ram with the factory dual exhaust. Get yours right here at AmericanTrucks.com.